In this video on Hinduism, we're going to start into the Bhagavad Gita, and this will be a conceptual overview, part 1. So the Bhagavad Gita is a story that takes place within the Bhishma Parva, which is a story that takes place within the Mahabharata. The Bhagavad Gita is an epic poem, which takes place within an epic poem, which takes place within an epic poem. And the Bhagavad Gita is going to cover a variety of themes, and as it covers these themes, it covers the majority of the themes of Hinduism. So it's going to cover morality, theology, personhood and the nature of the self, cosmology and the nature of the universe. It's going to cover Brahman and Atman. It's going to cover the 3 paths to God, Jnana, Bhakti, and Karma. It's going to cover just war theory. It's going to cover Dharma. It's going to cover moksha, yoga, and relinquishment. And we're going to start today with the theological nature of God. So when we're talking about God in Hinduism, we're talking about Brahman. Brahman is ultimate reality. And there's 2 different ways to speak of Brahman. There's Nigurna Brahman and Saguna Brahman. So in speaking of Nigurna Brahman, we're speaking of the abstract, absolute, indescribable, omnipresent ultimate reality. When we're speaking about Saguna, we're talking about a more personalized God. There's 3 primary forms of Brahman, which we discussed in our previous videos. And those, again, as a review, are Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Now, these primary forms of Brahman are going to be manifested as personal gods, as Saguna Brahman, through avatars. Okay, so when we talk about avatars, we're talking about specific kind of instantiations similar to incarnations, and yet these instantiations aren't fully man and fully God. Okay, they're just fully divine under the appearance of man. And there's thousands, tens of thousands of these avatars. We're going to talk about 4 today, and Bhagavad Gita is really going to focus on 1. There's Parvati, Saraswati, Lakshmi, and Krishna. And Parvati is the divine mother. She is connected to Shiva. And Shiva, again, a primary form of Brahman. And Shiva is the creator of the universe and also the destroyer, Shiva the destroyer. And one of Parvati's major avatars. So not only do the primary forms of Brahman have avatars, but many of these avatars have further avatars. And one of Parvati's primary avatars is Kali, the deliverer of justice. And then there's Saraswati, who is the avatar, the divine manifestation for learning, literature, and music. Lakshmi is going to be prosperity, and specifically when we're talking about prosperity and good fortune for Lakshmi, we are talking about progeny. So Lakshmi would be the god, the goddess, the avatar that Hindus will pray for children. Okay, and Lakshmi is also the avatar, the manifestation of beauty. And then finally, we have Krishna. Krishna is going to play a very important role, not only in the Bhagavad Gita, but in the Mahabharata as a whole, and in Hinduism in the larger context. And Krishna is the manifestation of compassion, tenderness, love. Krishna is one of the primary avatars of Vishnu, which is the form of Brahman that is truth, that is supreme being. And so Krishna is a very powerful avatar. Next, we're going to talk about personhood, nature of the self. And so when we want to talk about the nature of the self, we want to start with the experiencer of one's being. So I have these experiences. What is it that experiences these experiencers? We could say it's my body, but then I experience my body as well. We could say it's my mind, but I experience my mind also. The experiencer of one's being is one's real self, the innermost soul, the true essence. And this experiencer of one's being is immaterial. It's permanent, because if it's changing, then there has to be something even a step back that's experiencing the experience of change. So the innermost soul, the real self, the true essence is unchanging, and that makes it permanent. And if it's unchanging, immaterial, permanent, true, then it is also pure. And this concept of the self is what is referred to as Atman. Personal nature of the self, we were talking about Atman. And so next we're going to talk about the cosmology, the nature of the universe. And when we speak of the universe, we're talking about something that is finite, that is changing. And since it's changing, it's transient and temporary. And if it's transient and temporary, it's impermanent. If it's impermanent, it's not true, a very deep, grand way. It is illusory. It's vain. Right? We can think of Ecclesiastes and our Hebrew scripture and our Christian scripture. This vanity of vanities, everything is vanity. And Hinduism shares this belief very strongly, and they call this Maya, the world, the universe, the cosmos of illusions, of vanity. It's not real. It's not true. And so then moving back to talk about Brahman and Atman, these are both permanent. These are both unchanging. These are both real. These are both true, absolute reality. That's immaterial. That's real, true, permanent, unchanging. There's the innermost self that's absolutely real, permanent, unchanging, and true. And everything else besides Brahman and Atman is Maya, is illusions. But if Brahman and Atman are both real, true, permanent, and unchanging, true in the deepest sense, then at a very deep level, Brahman and Atman are identical. We know that Brahman is everywhere. It's absolute reality is everywhere, pervades everything. And now if Brahman equals Atman, then Atman, our innermost self, pervades everything. And another way to say that is we are all one, or this short little basic symbol in Hinduism that will be chanted, that will be repeated. This is expressing the oneness, the identity of absolute reality and self, that we are all one. At a very deep level, there's no distinction between you and me, reality. And so taking this understanding of the nature of God, the nature of self, the nature of the universe, now we're going to move on to moral discourse. And we're going to ask some basic questions when we talk about morality. What must I do? What defines my duty? What is my caste? And what is my duty? And what must I do is your duty. This is very Kantian. It's not consequentialist. It's not talking about rights. You have a specific duty. And that's what you must do. At every moment, fulfill your duty. In Hinduism, what defines my duty is going to be caste. is in some senses very Aristotelian. What defines my duty? What defines virtue for Aristotle? So, well, what's my function? Again, he's going to connect function not to my physical body, but to the aspects of my soul, of my innermost self. And in Hinduism, they're going to say, well, duty is connected to function, your purpose. And your purpose comes with your station in life, your caste. And so what is my caste? Well, I could be the highest caste. I could be a Brahmin, which is a priest. And there's going to be certain duties that go along with that caste. It could be a kshatriya, a warrior, be a vaishya, as a farmer, a merchant, shudra, servant, or it could be a prishya, which is untouchable. And these are the 5 castes, the 5 primary major castes. And there are subcastes in these castes in Hinduism, but these are the 5 primary castes. So then my duty is what is proper to my caste. Do what is proper to my caste. So if I am a kshatriya, and this is going to play a very important role in the Bhagavad Gita, my duty is to fight justly in just wars. Whereas I'm a Brahmin, my duty is to refrain from fighting in any war, to include just wars. Caste is going to play an important role in morality. Your duty will be different based on your station in life. And this wraps up our conceptual overview of the Bhagavad Gita, part 1. We'll deal with the remaining themes: path to God, just war theory, dharma, moksha, yoga, and relinquishment in parts 2 and maybe part 3 of the conceptual overview of the Bhagavad Gita.